Part B, Chapter 6. We already came across many points. Today, we will discuss about politics after emergency and other things. The emergency was in place from 25th June 1975 to 23rd March 1977. Indira Gandhi declared in January 1977 that elections will be held. The leaders who were arrested during emergency were released. This election can be called a referendum of the people of India to the black period of emergency. The opposition participated in this election with the slogan, the strong slogan was Save Democracy. Loksabha election 1977 and the formation of Janata Party. Loksabha elections were held in March 1977. The opposition parties did not get much time to get ready for the elections. But the hatred of people towards emergency helped the opposition parties. During emergency, the opposition parties worked as a united one. Although Janata Party was formed in May 1977, its formation can be said to have begun in January inside the jails. Many opposition parties extended full support to Jayaprakash Narayan in 1974. He appealed to the opposition parties to come together, but the leaders were not confident. However, emergency compelled them to think that the only way to challenge Indira Gandhi's authoritarian politics is to come together. Hence, we can say that the Janata Party was formed in jail itself. After being released from jail, a number of opposition parties like Congress organization, Bharatiya Janasangha, Bharatiya Lokdal, Socialist Party came together under the leadership of Jayaprakash Narayan and worked together forming the Janata Party. Rebel Congress leaders like Chandrasekhar, Mohan and Ramdhan also joined in this party. Morarji Desai is elected the president and Chaudhry Charan Singh became the vice president. In a conference held on 1st May 1977 in Delhi's Pragati Maidan, Janata Party officially entered into Indian politics. In this conference, Chaudhry Charan Singh for Bharatiya Lokdal, Ashok Mehta for Congress organization, George Fernandez for Socialist Party, like Lal Krishna Advani for Bharatiya Janasangh, declared to join the Janata Party. On the other hand, Jagjivan Ram also declared that his party Congress for Democracy will be a part of Janata Party. The Joint Secretary of Party called the party the meeting point of five rivers. Jayaprakash Narayan became the popular symbol of rebirth of democracy. The electoral result of 1977 shocked one and all. Congress party lost election in the center for the first time after independence. Congress could win only 153 seats, and of these 92 seats were from the four southern states. On the other hand, the Janata Party owned 295 seats out of 542. Some other parties supported Janata Party and their seats came up to 330. Janata Party owned two-thirds of seats. In North India, Congress faced heavy defeat. Indira Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi lost in Raebareli and Amethi respectively. Congress continued to win almost all the seats in the south. There are a number of reasons behind this. The effect of emergency was not the same in every state. The policies of the government that resulted in forceful displacement was concentrated in North India. The people in South India did not suffer as badly during emergency. According to Janata Party leaders, the 1977 election was a fight between democracy and totalitarianism. Consequences of Loksabha election 1977. The election of 1977 has a lot of relevance in the Indian politics. Some important consequences of this election have been like end of Congress dominance. This election ended the dominance of Congress at least for some time. Congress was defeated for the first time in Loksabha elections. Congress owned most seats in the southern states and also did well in states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Odisha. On the other hand, it lost heavily in northern states. In the second, we can say first coalition government in center. After the election of 1977, the first coalition government was formed in the center. Along with Janata Party, a large number of other parties joined the government. The trend of coalition government continues in India till now. Then in the next we can say reservation of offices. After the election of 1977, the issue of reservation of other backward classes was discussed a lot. In Bihar, this issue became very controversial. To solve this problem, the Janata government formed the Mandal Commission. The Janata government. Amidst excitement, the Janata government was formed at the center. Morarji Desai became the first non-Congress Prime Minister of India. But this was not easy for Desai. Chaudhry Charan Singh of Bharatiya Lokdal and ex-Congress Minister Jagjivan Ram, along with Desai, was other contenders for the post of Prime Minister. Desai's Prime Ministership pointed out the internal conflicts in the Janata government. After a few months of coming into power, the Janata government started to become unstable. Indira Gandhi predicted that due to internal conflicts, the party will break down. Lack of cooperation was being reflected among the various parties of the government. They were working on their own. These parties had not given up their ideologies. From the beginning, there was a good relationship between Bharatiya Lokdal and Bharatiya Janasangh. As a result, Chaudhry Charan Singh was given both the finance ministry as well as the post of deputy prime minister. On the other hand, Raj Narayan was not made a minister. In such a situation, the foundation of Janata Party or Janata government, the former Janata Party, that is Janata government, became weak. We have already mentioned that Janata Party had no ideology, leadership, or common program. In the same time, it could not bring much change to the policies of the previous governments. Finally, after 18 months, the party disintegrated and Morarji Desai's government lost majority. After that, Charan Singh formed a government within Congress support, but it lasted for only 4 months. As a result, in 1980, a midterm election was held, and in the election, Congress under Indira Gandhi won 353 seats. Initiatives taken by Janata government, we should discuss it. Janata Party, after coming to power, tried to correct the policies that Congress took during emergency. The important policies initiated by the Janata government, like through the 44th Amendment, Janata government tried to correct the negative impact of 42nd Amendment that was initiated during emergency. Then we can say right to property was removed from fundamental right and kept as a legal right. Then we can say the term of Loksabha and Rajya Sabha was again changed from 6 years to 5 years. In the next, the president was given the power to send back any advice to the Council of Ministers for reconsideration. In next point, the power of Supreme Courts and High Courts were restored. Then Janata government gave more importance to fundamental rights than directive principles. Then we can say all the controversial laws passed during emergency were cancelled. So Janata government registered a number of cases against Congress leaders relating to misuse of office and power and put them at the disposal of tribunals. But nothing much happened in the most of the cases. The police could not submit any evidence. In May 1977, the Janata government appointed a high level committee under retired Chief Justice J.C. Shah to investigate the crimes committed during emergency. This commission examined evidence and summoned many witnesses. It also summoned Indira Gandhi, but she denied to answer any questions. Shah Commission, in its report, gave a number of suggestions. The Janata government accepted those suggestions positively. Elections of 1980 and its impact. Although we know that election of 1980 was a sudden election due to the sudden fall of Morarji Desai's government and Charan Singh's government. In the election of 1980, Congress again came to power in the center. With this victory, Congress claimed themselves to be the only socialist and pro-poor party in India. But after this election, Congress changed its policies. Opposition parties also changed its functioning. After 1980, opposition parties often came together against Congress and won in some elections. The National Front government of B.P. Singh and the National Democratic Front government of Atal Bihari Vajpayee are examples. Congress is still questioned about the emergency period. So that's all for today's class. We will discuss other chapters in our next classes. আজকে ছুটি